Thank you very much. So my name is Mrs. Elizabeth Emekwa, and today I'll be taking you on preventive versus reactive and maintenance, striking the right balance. In a layman's words, we're going to be talking about how to prevent our assets in our homes, in our facilities, in our place of work, okay? How to ensure that these things last longer than how they should, okay? So if you have questions, don't forget to write them down and or put it on the chat box, okay? Someone would attend to it. All right, so next slide. Okay, so at the end of this course, the objective of this course is for us to understand the difference between the preventive, what does it mean to prevent? What does it mean to be reactive? What is reactive? What is preventive? Okay, we're going to learn that in maintenance, in our facility management. As a maintenance person, you as a maintenance person, when you go there, say, now me they maintain that, now we did there. What are your roles? What do you do? Okay. What are the advantage and limitation of each approach of what you do, inputting your preventive maintenance plan in action, and when you don't put them in action, okay? What are the limitations and what are the advantages? We're going to learn how to analyze maintenance needs to determine the appropriate strategies, okay? These things now are how do we ensure that it's done and it's done correctly. We're going to explore how to combine both approaches and operational efficiency and cost effectiveness, all right? Develop strategies to implement and balance maintenance plan to reduce downtime and extend assets life. So in a simple way, okay, in a simple way, I can equally say, for example, our phone. You have an iPhone 16 Pro, for example. What are those things you do to ensure that you don't have to buy a screen, or maybe you have a Samsung phone, the most expensive Samsung. What are those things you have to do to ensure that this doesn't worn out, this screen doesn't go bad? You have to do everything. So that is what we are going to talk about today. Preventive maintenance in our facility management, okay? So yes, these are the course outline: understanding preventive maintenance, understanding reactive. As a facility management, how do you know that this should be reactive, this should be preventive? When should you make actions, okay? Do you have to wait for your generator to run down before you start thinking about doing maintenance, okay? Those are the actions and conversations we're going to have today, striking the right balance, building a balance between maintenance and maintenance plan, okay? So next slide, please. Okay, overview of a maintenance responsibility. So I mentioned earlier, as a maintenance person, I personally am a maintenance person. When I wake up in the morning, I carry my bag and I said, I'm going to work. What am I going to do? When I get to the work, what am I doing? What are those things I need to do? What are the first things I need to check? You check your building system and equipment and ensure that they are working well, right? Or do you just go to the office straight and just drop your bag, sit down, put on YouTube or something? Even if you are in charge of CCTV operations, even if you're in charge of generator, whatever it is you're in charge of, you always go there first to check. Ensure that the building system and equipment are in working safe conditions. Ensure that your routine check, you carry out your routine check on your generators, your plumbing, your lighting, your HVAC system. You see one-on-one every items that need to be checked. If you have a checklist, good. Go through it one after the other from your generator, check the oil, check the diesel level, check everything you need to check, okay? To ensure that they are all in good condition. Your lighting system too, your panels, your batteries, so that you don't just suddenly, the lights went off or something happened. You see, all those emergencies don't just happen. Are we together? If things are put in place carefully, you will have less emergencies, okay? So support sustainability through energy efficiency and reduction initiative. In the morning, wherever you don't have to on anything, you don't have to on, you put it off. Okay, you put off lights, put off sockets, HVAC system, whatever it is that nobody is using. This way, you are doing what? You are reducing energy. Yes, you are reducing energy, okay, for your company. And then there are other companies where we have vendors. You have outside vendors who come around to come and work. It's your responsibility to ensure that this vendor carry out what they need to do. What do? You ask for their scope of work. Elevator, for example. You don't maintain elevator, you have an external vendor who will do that. It is your own responsibility to ensure that these people carry out what they need to carry. Because when the chips are down, when things go wrong, your clients will come and ask you, oh, Mr. Tayo, what happened to the elevator? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Tayo, it was just an example. So sorry. What happened to the elevator? How did it go wrong? What work did these people do? So this is why it is very important that we manage our vendors, okay? Okay, so what are our roles in maintenance? What are our roles of maintenance in assets, lifecycle, and operation? I mentioned, for example, your phone. Simply, what does it mean? What does maintenance, what does it have to do in assets? In our generator, in our HVAC, in all the things we manage. When we carry out a carefully planned maintenance, what does it do? When you take your generator for servicing, what happens? It extends the lifespan. If it's supposed to, for example, use, can you all hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. If, for example, the generator is supposed to go through maybe 2 years or 3 years, but with proper maintenance, you take it for oiling, you change the oil when it's due, you change the fuel filter, the air filter, the engines, check that the boats are not at all complete. All right? You see that generator, it lasts more longer. The water system, everything. Your pumping machine, you don't wait until it has to run to the end. You start having a very awkward, maybe something is bad. Every quarter, depending on your usage, ensure that you carry out a proper maintenance activities for all these assets. And when you do that, the lifespan increases, okay? Through regular preventive maintenance, just as I was explained. Reduce operational downtime by addressing issues early. Anytime you notice something, don't wait until it's the end. When you notice something, you pick it up immediately, you report it, and you get it done. If you don't do that, then we have crisis. We have emergencies because we decide to wait a while. We decide to just see, I just try one small thing, I say, make I see whether it will work. And it didn't work, or it probably work. Well, we can quickly put a corrective measures immediately, okay? Ensure performance and reliability of critical system. Okay, this thing is not, it's just simple. When we carry out a preventive maintenance plan on our assets, all these things that are listed there, we would not have emergencies. Okay, we don't have to start going etasketa for something wrong. But because you've seen it, for example, you notice there's an oil leakage on the generator. What's going to happen? It means after a while, there'll be shortage of oil, right? The gen will start having oil shortage. And what does that mean? After a while, the gen will start shutting down. You've noticed it. Don't wait to see maybe it's another gen that produced that oil. Okay, don't wait. Ensure that you get it done and get it done correctly. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so now we're going to define concepts of preventive maintenance. Okay, preventive maintenance involves scheduled upkeep to avoid equipment failure. It's just what I've explained earlier. Are we together? I don't want this phone to go bad. What do? I put a phone screen. I put a phone guard, pouch, right? And then every now and then, maybe every three months, I decide to change the screen guard. I decide to change the pouch. Isn't it? It's just simple. I don't want my generator to go bad. I don't want my HVAC system to stop cooling. I was reading online the other day about someone who destroyed a space because the AC wasn't cooling. If you've done your proper check, okay, you ensure that your filters are working well. You ensure that the servicing was done when it's needed. You will not have any issues. But when you have to wait for a while and then you have crisis and your customers, your clients start complaining, it is wrong. Focus on regular inspection, servicing, and part replacement. If you need to refill your gas, refill it. Don't say, Ogana, because say sun too hot, now make the AC no work. No. What could go wrong? What about in another space? If the AC is working fine in the other space, when last was it serviced? All these things are very important. All these things are very important to ensure that our assets that we have in our facilities, to ensure that our customers, they don't give us a bad feedback, okay? Always aim to extend asset life and maintain optimal performance. It's just simple. This thing needs to be done, you get it done. This is how this thing should be done. This to ensure that this generator work properly. You know, there are some of us that even when experts tells us that, okay, this what it would cost, but because we want to cut costs, then we decide to go through, my brother can do it. Okay, don't worry, just do this one, then leave the rest, right? What do you think is going to happen to that asset? You're having malaria, you went to the hospital, you say, doctor, don't worry, let me treat the headache first, and then we'll come back for the distant later. Do you think it's going to work? Do you think you're going to feel better? You might feel better a little, but in the long run, you will come back. The issues will come back. We prevent errors, we prevent emergencies, we prevent all these things by ensuring that we carry out a proper routine check, a proper preventive maintenance care on our assets, okay? Yes, so when we do all this, it reduces unexpected breakdown and emergency repairs. You can see if for example, a repair, let me use a generator, for example, an injector can cost you, or 6 injectors can cost you 6, 7, 8 million, right? To replace injector for generator, depending on the capacity of the generator. But all you just need to do before that is to ensure that you change the oil, you get a good diesel. That's the thing. You get a good diesel. But along the line, you decide to buy a roadside diesel that damaged your generator injector. How much have you spent? A lot of money, just because you decide to save 1 million naira or 3 million naira. So it is important, it is very important that when we are thinking about our assets, when we're thinking about preventive measures, when we're thinking about maintenance, let us always use the proper measures, okay? Let us always ensure that we look at these things, we take the right actions, okay? Next slide, please. Okay, so what are the benefits? Minimizing unexpected failure, improving safety, extending equipment life, okay? It's just as I've explained, okay? It reduces unexpected equipment failure and time down, enhance safety and occupancy and staff. When you're comfortable about what you've done, you know you've done this thing and you've done it correctly, you will not have issues. Or else, out of the blues, you check your exhaust, you've checked your fan belt, you've checked everything, you've checked the water coolant, you've checked everything. If you do this every day and you do it, I'm sorry? Sorry, can you mute yourself, Samsung? Thank you. Oops. If you, can someone mute him, please? If you do this and you do it correctly, you will not have any issues. Your occupants would not come. your occupants would not come and say, no, this thing is not true. But if you have your good evidence and you are doing it correctly, and everyone understands that you do this, and everyone understands that you do this and you do it well, nobody would have any issues with you. If you come up and say, see what happened, maybe out of the blues, they can understand that, okay, yes, this is not what happened. This is not what usually is supposed to happen. And this person, they do them very well, because you take your preventive maintenance plan very serious. Okay, lower long-term repairs and replacement costs. You don't have to start spending every now and then. You are repairing. If your generator is due for overhauling, take it out for overhauling. It's a lot of cost. But on a long run, if every now and then the gel keep breaking down, you keep repairing one or two things, overhauling could cost probably 10 million naira, and you keep repairing one or two things of 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, but you know that this is due. It said after how many hours? 15,000 or 10,000 hours, right? You should take your generator for overhauling. But because, fine, sometimes situations, but what are other plan Bs you have? But for us to also have a lower cost, okay, of repair. Because if on a long run you don't do these things, you would spend more. So it is important for her own safety and also the equipment lifespan that we carry out a good preventive maintenance. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so what are the examples of preventive tasks in facilities? Regular HVAC, filter replacement and system inspection. For example, your HVAC, when you want to do maintenance for your HVAC, what do? You check your filters. You check the draining line, right? The drainage line to ensure that, this thing, the water is going. Because if water is not going, all of a sudden you see that water is dripping inside the office. What's causing this? It's not village people, my dear. If you check your filters, if you check that the drainage line is not blocked, if you check the pipe outside is not clogged, these are the things you have to check. Very simple. Or you just tell your boss, this AC is bad. What made it bad? Compressor, DBC, all those small parts that could happen either because of light fluctuation or something. But if we carry out a normal inspection, you will not have any of all these issues. Schedule testing of fire alarm and emergency lighting. So let me say, for example, every quarter, you're supposed to carry out your fire alarm system test, but you did not. The day there's a real fire and you notice that there's no battery inside your panel, fire alarm panel, what are you going to do? These are ways for us to prevent incidents in our facilities, for us to ensure that our assets are working well, are functioning properly. Are we together? Routine liberation and the mechanical parts and motor. When it's oil, your plumbing, okay, in our plumbing system, for example, what do we do? Backwashing. When last was the tank washed, right? Your raw tank. What do you do to it? Do you just leave it? Do you just pump it, you dose it, and then you ensure that there's water for the people? What about when you do all that and there's still dirt in the water? What do you do? How do you explain that? I've seen a situation where dosing system is still going on, but the clients complain about the water. It means where the water is going through after treatment, they need to be cleaned. The tank needs to be cleaned. Quarterly, annually, depending on your usage. Okay? Inspection and cleaning of plumbing system, preventive roof inspection and detect early damage. For our building, for those of us that have roof, that have water tanks on our roof, how often do you go there to check that the tank is not leaking? or where it's leaking, there's a drainage that the water is going into to ensure that there are no cracks on our building. When you see cracks in your building, what does that tell you? What are the first things you need to do? Okay, so these are examples of how to do preventive tasks in our facilities, okay? Okay, so now we've talked about the preventive. What are the reactive maintenance and when it applies? So the pumping machine stopped working, right? It just stopped working. The pumping machine just stopped working. Why? If maintenance are done properly, okay, yes, it's fine. But is it due for its lifespan, or what happened? Reactive maintenance involves repairing equipment only after a failure occurred. Are we together? If you've put in all your preventive maintenance, you know that you've done all this, and then the pumping machine stopped working, you can justify yourself. Oh, yes, because I think it is due. But you don't even use one pumping machine in the first place to run a facility of over 1,000 people. You have a backup because you don't want to go and start saying, we have water shutdown crisis. Okay? Yes. Are we together? This is also known as a run to failure maintenance strategy. I know there are some facilities that they have to wait that everything, okay, it don't run down. Okay, now we won't come and repair. That is reactive. When it's no longer functioning, even when you put in your preventive maintenance plan and everything has gone off. Okay, yes, that is when they want to replace. That's a maintenance strategy. That's a run to failure maintenance strategy. What are those examples of run to failure maintenance strategies we have? Like bulb. Okay, your bulb. You can't replace your bulb, your extension socket. It's only when it goes up, that's when you can replace it, right? Okay. Applied when systems are non-critical or failure has minimal impact. Useful for assets with low repair cost or infrequent breakdown. Just as I've mentioned, your bulb, your extension, your sockets, switches most times, okay? Best studied for emergency fixes or when preventive maintenance isn't feasible. So it is just what I've explained. You've done your preventive maintenance or you did not do it at all. That is when reactive occurs. Okay, thank you. Benefits, lower upfront cost used for non-critical assets. Okay, what does that mean? What are the benefits we get for non-critical assets? Required lower upfront cost compared to preventive strategies. You pay less. Ideas for non-critical assets where failure impact is minimal. You minimize the time spent on routine inspections and services. For example, your light, your socket, how often, what do you want to do? If your socket is bad, you replace it, right? If your switches are bad, you replace them because these are little costs. They are not so expensive. Simple to implement or minimal planning or schedule. Allow resources to focus on assets that truly needs attention. Okay, so these are the benefits of lower upfront cost used for non-critical assets. What are those non-critical assets? Light, socket, switches. Okay, let's say, for example, inverter. I can't even mention inverter issue because that's not a lower cost at all. Okay, so all those little things that we know that they don't cost us too much. All right, next slide. Efficiency and reliability trade-off. In preventing our assets from going, in preventing emergencies in our facilities. What are those efficiency and reliability trade-off? What does it cost us? Preventive maintenance enhances system reliability, but requires regular resources investment. Every now and then you have to go around to check. You have to have your checklist. You have to understand what you are doing. You have to put a record through, okay? Before it goes bad, ensures you get it done. Are we together? Reactive maintenance may conserve short-term resources, but risk sudden inefficiency. That's the truth. Before your phone screen can just go bad, if you are putting all your measures in place, you will not just have that risk of everything just shuts down. No. Example, your water pump. You have, even in our homes, for example, we have 2 water pumps, so that when one goes bad, there's always another one to back up while you are checking what goes wrong with the other one. Over-maintaining can lead to unnecessary costs without added reliability. Well, that depends on the facility, that depends on the kind of place you are checking, you are running that with. Okay, yes, maybe sometimes, let me see, for example, what are those kind of assets we can have in a facility that over maintaining can affect? Let me say AC, for example, in an office space where AC is not being used often. Okay, this implies under-maintaining increase the likelihood of failure and service disruption. Just as if you over-maintain, if you also under-maintain, you also have risk of assets damage. Okay? Balancing both approaches ensure cost effectiveness and operation stability. I didn't over-maintain it. I didn't under-maintain it. I make sure that both things are working hand in hand. If I'm supposed to do this thing every 3 months, I notice the usage and then I decide to do it maybe every 1 month. Okay? If or every 1.5 months, I can be rest assured that this asset, nothing is going to happen to it. That's called balancing, to ensure that our asset is in good things, in good condition. Case studies when each approach makes sense, okay? When you put your preventive maintenance in place, you don't have issues, okay? Preventive maintenance is ideal for HVAC system in commercial buildings to avoid costly downtime. I've explained this. If all of this HVAC system, generator, water pumping, lighting and all, especially factories, companies, are all properly maintained, you don't have any service shuts down. You don't have any issues. Reactive maintenance work for light bulb, just have explained, replacement of low cost or non-critical fixtures, okay? Hospital use preventive maintenance for medical equipment to ensure safety and compliance. For example, your scanning machine, that's the simplest I can think of in the hospital. If a maintenance plan is not scheduled for scanning machine, every now and then you go, you scan, you go, you scan, you do x-ray, you do all sort of things, and you did not put a maintenance check, what's going to happen? You just wake up one day with a lot of patients and then disappointment because you refuse to put in a little preventive maintenance for safety. Or what if maintenance plan is even done, but you did not check your socket, you did not check your switches, that something is not wrong, something is not burnt. You know, we have some situations whereby you plug to the wall and then maybe there's a light spark or something. The cable is burning. If the cable is burnt, what do you think is going to, how do you think is going to affect your machine? And how do you think it's going to affect your facility? I always put on a habit. Every time I'm leaving the office, I ensure I remove all the sockets, off all the lights, and also. I didn't know someone was always watching me at the place of work. Until one day I went home, I went out and I did not come back to the office. And this person did all of that. A client. The next day I asked one of my team members, I said, oh, who was able to, did someone did this? The other person was like, when I went there, I saw that it was already done. These are habits we need to cultivate to keep our assets safe. It's not just doing routine check or preventing the asset from getting bad. The safety of those assets also matters, okay? All right. Data center rely heavily on preventive maintenance for cooling and power system to prevent catastrophic failure. Yes. In the hospital, in offices, we have our data, we have our, what's this thing called now? A server. We have our server. For that server not to shut down, what do we need to do? For that server not to go wrong or something, for those that are into IT, you ensure there's a cooling system that works properly, okay? So all these are very important, okay? Next slide, please. Okay, so now how do we determine critical versus non-critical assets? How do we say that this thing is what we need to do and what we don't need to do? What are those assets that are critical? What are those assets that we can just overlook? Critical asset directly impacts safety compliance or core operations, e.g. your fire alarm, your HVAC in the hospital. Imagine an hospital without an AC or without fan. We can manage no AC, right? But without fan, depending on the facilities, what happened when you have high-class people and your AC is not working? What kind of feedback are you giving your people? Even you yourself, you enter hospital, you start using your hand to fan, say, oh boy, because of little measures that we could take. Or you wake up one day, there's a real fire and your fire alarm is not there to inform you that there's a real fire. Are we going to, because of our negligence, allow the entire facility to burn down? These are critical issues that we need to put into compliance, that we need to put into place, measures that we need to put into place. Okay, non-critical assets have minimal effect on operations, such as light. If your light is not working, it's easy to quickly go outside to go get the bulb, right? But if your fire alarm system is not working, you cannot just quickly go outside to go get a panel. These are expensive assets, all right? Evaluate asset importance based on risk, cost of failure, and operational impact. How often do you use this thing? If this thing is not working, what is going to happen? These are what we always need to put into consideration when we are thinking about our assets, okay? Use assets hierarchy and classification tools in CMMS to categorize assets efficiently. You have your computerization on every asset. A CMMS is a software, right? For all your assets. When was this last service? How was this used? According to their classes, according to their hierarchy, according to their usage, according to how expensive it is, their efficiency is being computerized. Prioritization ensures efficiency allocation of maintenance, resources, and budget. When you prioritize what needs to be done and how much needs to be used, is important. I know there are some facilities that they said, okay, we want to, for this year, last year we allocated or we budgeted a certain amount for HVAC maintenance, but we spent maybe lesser, maybe higher, but it is always important that we put all these things into consideration, okay? Next slide, please. Maintenance prioritization based on risk usage. It's simple. From the high risk to the low risk. Every asset we have in our facility, down to the table, down to the computer, down to the TV screen. Because I can tell you what, if your TV for the reception, you get a bad light, a bad signal from the socket, okay, just because you refuse to put a power surge, right? You refuse to put a power surge. And along the line, the TV that cost almost 1 million or 2 million naira got bad because of something you could just put a quick measures into. It is important that we prioritize our maintenance. We prioritize our assets for maintenance, okay? You don't just want to say, because this light is 300,000 or this light is 80,000 naira. You want to prioritize it over a fire alarm system or a fire hydrant system. What's going to cost you more? When there's a real fire and you try to open your fire hydrant water or your engine, you notice there's no battery, you notice that it's not working. How do you quench that? Let us cultivate an habit of prioritizing our assets on the risk. What is the risk associated to this thing? How do we prevent it? What are those preventive measures we need to put in place to ensure that this doesn't happen? Okay, these are important things we always need to think about. It's not enough for us to just have a schedule of what we need to do. Come to think about it, as a maintenance person, you have a schedule, right? Every morning I check this, I check this, I check that, I check that. Why am I checking it? Okay, have checked it. What is the risk associated to this? If things go wrong, what am I supposed to do? These are important decisions that we need to know regarding our assets. These are risk, all risk associated, everything in your facility down to your building has a risk. Do you understand? If you don't think ahead of the risk associated to such assets, then you are running to fail. Next slide, please. Okay, so integrating preventive and reactive strategy for a hybrid model. How do we integrate preventive and reactive strategy? Combine schedule maintenance with on-demand repair for flexibility. During your maintenance plan, you know that after 3 months, you need to replace this. That's a reactive, right? Why carrying out your preventive measures, your preventive maintenance? You already have a reactive plan for it. After 3 months, not forgetting, after, even when you buy something, they will tell you usage is for so period of time. And you also ensure that after this time, or even before this time, you ensure that you carry out this thing, replacement. Preventive care reduces risk while reactive response handle unexpected issue. If you prevent it by ensuring that you replace that thing when it's due, you will not have any you will not have any risks to go through, right? But on the reactive side, you have to wait. And then when the thing happens, unfortunately, right? Hybrid model balance cost efficiency and equipment reliability. So when we look at hybrid, we're looking at the cost and we're looking at the equipment reliability. Now, excuse me, this asset, for example, costs 500,000. Are we together? It costs 500,000. Now, what is the efficiency of the equipment? How long is it going to last? Are you looking at the cost, or you are looking at the maintenance plan to ensure that this thing lasts? What are those things I need to put in measures in place to ensure that this money I'm spending, I would not have to spend it again? So we bring both the cost, you put in the maintenance plan to ensure the reliability of the equipment. Help allocate resources based on asset criticality and performance data. There are some of us, we just want to use some things for forever without proper maintenance plan. Okay, why don't you just go on and don't cut your hair forever? Okay, I know some people that don't even visit the barbing salon for 3 to 4 years. It's just like your body. Your asset in your facility is like your body. If you take good care of your body, you have good skin, you have good nails, you look good. Same thing for your assets. If you take good care of your asset in your facility, they tend to last more longer. Ideas for facility with diverse asset plan, and it's just simple. Always ensure that you put on your preventive to avoid emergency reactive repairs. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so I mentioned earlier, CMMS is a computerized maintenance management system. Is a tools, okay, is an asset like anyway, is a computerized maintenance management system for managing our assets. You can use it to document your items in your facilities, okay? Central maintenance data and schedule on one digital form. When is this due? When is that due? When is this? When should this be replaced and all that? That is what a CMMS does. It set an alarm, kind of. It sends you a reminder, oh, this thing is due for replacement. This thing is due for maintenance. Track work order, asset history, and maintenance starts effectively. Okay? Enhance planning, schedule downtime, and ensures timely repair. This is easier for those of us that are into the facilities already that know how to do it. You don't wait. Sometimes I still see we go around with book and paper, but right now in today's world, even if you don't have the fund, because I'm not going to pressure anybody, even if you don't have the fund for it, just ensure that you carry out your maintenance plan and you carry it out correctly. You can use a computer, your asset register. On your asset register, you have all your equipment, all your tools right there. And you have your plans for them. For this generator, I'm carrying out A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. It's a very large Excel sheet that's going to carry out all the assets. It's going to show you all the items that need to be done. The same way a CMMS system. It helps you to know when you need to do something, how you need to do it. If, for example, we can have this thing on our phone, something is going wrong in a particular place, you get an alarm, you get a pops up in so place, something is going wrong. It helps you to predict maintenance workflow and prevent it. Okay, it provides real-time insight and better decision-making and cost control. This thing is going to cost 500,000, for example, this. You have it all in your hand. A computerized system. Okay? Next slide, please. So that is the function of a computerized system. For those that work in factories or bigger companies, in larger companies that have large assets, you don't go around mocking yourself with a paper and book or paper and pencil or something, saying, how much can you do with that? We are now in a digital world where everything is being computerized. You can't be sleeping in your house. If you're sleeping in your house and there's an emergency fire, my dear, paper and book would not tell you that there's a fire. Or with your CMMS in control, everything placed there. It has its own advantage, energy, okay, cost effective, right? But if everything is in place, you can just know that, oh, something is going wrong in section, something. This and this is what you need to do. That is how it also helps, okay? Using data and analytics for maintenance planning. When was this thing serviced? It's called recording, proper recording. When you carry out a service, you carry out the maintenance, you record it properly. Over the time, if you are handing over to another facility, they can know that, oh, this is what was done. This is how it was done. It's data. Are we together? When there's no data, it's very difficult for everyone to work. But when your data is available, excuse me. But when your data is available, you tend to know what you're doing. You can quickly go back and say, oh, this thing was recorded. So this was what was done and how it was done. It prevents failures of equipment. You can just put it up and say, okay, this on so date, this is what we do. You know, for example, if you have a contract with the generator maintenance people, and then they just come and they want to change one thing. They want to change, what's the common thing? Seal, deep blue seal, or Kickstarter. Oh, we noticed the Kickstarter is going 40, we want to change it. Hello, this thing was changed. Or maybe you even changed your Kickstarter recently, and then in less than 3 months it's having issues. And then they come back and tell you that you have to replace it. Why? This thing was replaced on the 23rd of February. Why do I need to replace it on the 24th, 10th of April? What is going on? Okay, your data helps you to keep record of everything regarding the maintenance in your facility for your assets. Improves overall maintenance efficiency and cost effectiveness. Okay, support decision-making with real-time asset condition insights. Just as I've explained, all right? Next slide, please. Uses real-time data, preventive maintenance as an evolution of preventive care. Preventive maintenance as an evolution of preventive care. Use real-time data and sensor to monitor equipment and conditions. It's just what I've explained earlier. You have your monitors, your sensors on all your assets that you can always look through. The first time I get to see something like that was when I went for a training somewhere in, and I noticed the white man was controlling the assets with his phone. He received a call and he was controlling it with his phone. And I was like, how do you do that? These are sensors. They might come on a high price, but these are monitors that they have in place. All you just need to do is control it with your phone. It all works live. Identify potential failure before they occur, reducing downtime. It helps to improve maintenance schedule accuracy over traditional methods. Minimize unnecessary maintenance tasks and associated costs. You enhance asset reliability and extend equipment lifespan because you decide to, so like I mentioned earlier, depending on the assets, depending on the facility, depending on the kind of things you have in place. But let us live in today's world. Pen and paper no longer do it. Let us be involved in today's digital world. We're in a digital world whereby everything is being digitalized. You don't have to start flipping through. You can be in Dubai and something is happening in Nigeria in your facility, and you can just know. That is where we are today, okay? Let us try as much as possible to be involved in today's, I mean, as an FM, there are a lot of things that we can do, okay? You don't have to be physically there to save the day, except if you are the technician, all right? Steps for implementing a building balance maintenance plan. For us to implement a building balance maintenance plan, what are those steps we need to take? Have your maintenance routine plan in place. Assess current assets, needs to identify critical equipment and area requiring attention. This generator, this HVAC, these lights, just know what, have everything in mind. Know what needs to be done when it needs to be done. Are we together? This thing is, it's just like what do I use as an example? A generator maintenance person. I have this team. If my generator is running 200 hours, if it's 150, 155, they'll let me know the gen is running so hours. In the next so hours is going to be due. I'll say, yes, I know, I'm also checking. Know the kind of equipment that requires attention for your assets. Establish a preventive maintenance schedule to reduce downtime. Okay? Prioritize maintenance tasks based on criticality, safety, and cost effectiveness. These are all we need to do. Monitor and adjust the plan regularly using data to optimize schedules and improve efficiency. Improving efficiency is really important. You see, sometimes schedule keeps us in. What about if there are other things we need to check? For your chairs, for your table, for your TV. What about if, for example, it's not just your filter you want to check on your HVAC? Is it only filter we need to check? Is it only the cooling system we need to check? What about the water line? What about the pipe from outside? Do you know it's possible that there's a blockage? Gecko or something can just creep into the pipeline. Do you know that? And the water is not going. Cockroaches can just die into that thing and the water is not going. So let us always ensure we carry out a maintenance check, a maintenance schedule on our assets to also improve. Don't just say, this is what they've given me, this is what I will work with. No, always find ways to improve. And when we do this, we'll see that our assets tends to last more longer. Okay? Next slide, please. Monitoring performance and adjusting strategies. Always ensure that you, okay, for example, just as I've mentioned earlier, your KPI, keep performance indicator, check it. How have you done for your assets? This particular this thing, it has lasted us this long. These are what we've done. Check their performance. Check their effectiveness. Collect feedback from your stakeholders is very important. Then identify where you need to improve. If you don't identify where you need to improve, I can tell you, you can be working from Monday to Sunday under the rain and under the sun, and you think you're doing your best, and on the long run, your customers are not satisfied. It is important that you get your customers' feedback. It is important that you get your customers' feedback. Silas, I'll come to your question, please. If you don't get feedback, I don't know what's going to happen. You just see that things are not going well. There are some customers that they don't like to give feedback, I understand, but always ensure you ask for it. Analyze data trend to detect early signage of issues. You check. Last year, around this period, this is what happened, this is how this happened. You know, your data is intact. Use it to check your assets. Go back and check. If you are having a frequent issue on similar or different equipment, how was it done? What did you do? Even if you are changing contractors, for example, what did the previous contractors, what did they do? Review and update strategy regularly to align with evolving goals and challenges. Always review, always come back together to check what has been done. Through what? Through your data analysis, the data you've gathered. Incite corrective action based on insights. Implement corrective action based on insights. Ensure continuous improvement in performance. Okay, always try as much as possible to ensure that you implement, you continue to improve. You find ways to put ideas, actions, insights, thoughts. Don't stick to this is what I've been told, this is what I want to do. Get involved in things happening. Just for what? Improvement's sake. Okay? Involving stakeholders and maintenance team. Whenever you've done this schedule and others, always discuss it with your stakeholders. Engage them early on your planning. What does that mean? When you have your maintenance plan for the year, this is it. You share it with your clients, you share it with your team members. Don't just keep it under your laptop or under your table or something, or place it on the wall and say, this is our maintenance plan. Share it. That way, everybody see what you want to do when you want to do it. Or maybe, for example, you want to fumigate and all of a sudden you just wake up and say, we are fumigating today. Hello. Everybody have plans. So always ensure you engage your stakeholders in your planning early enough, all right? Foster open communication between stakeholders. It's transparency. I was having a meeting with a client yesterday and he was talking about transparency and I was laughing. It's true. Transparency is important. Okay? Always ensure transparency among your maintenance team. Always, this is what we need to do. This is how we need to do it. This is when we need to do it. This is what we've done. I know there are some contractors, they will not tell you what they've done because they don't want another person to take over their job. But it's not supposed to be done that way. When you're managing an asset for someone, always ensure you are transparent. It's very important. Not because they want to take your job, but because they need to know. I'm a kind of person, anytime there's something going wrong, I involve myself. Not because I don't want to call you another day. If push comes to worse, okay, I can salvage myself until when you'll be available to help me with the situation. So don't do na contractor business, nah, this person business. No. Okay, always be transparent. Encourage collaboration to leverage expert and identify collaboration. Everybody comes together. Let's do this together. Let's learn this together. This and this is what we are going to be doing. This and this is what is important. Okay, always ensure that. Empower maintenance team by involving them in decision making and providing them with necessary resources. I want my building to always look sparkling. I want my assets to always be in good conditions. How? When we are asking for a particular tools and you're not providing that for us, how is that possible? When we are asking for replacement of a pump and you're saying you just bought that pump, or repair and you're saying it's not supposed to cost that much. Please, these are important things that we need to stop doing. If you are doing it, if you are reducing, trying to reduce things or putting little or no sense, when your team members are working, apply the following. Stop it. Stop it. You're trying to save money, and at the same time, you want your assets to be in good condition. It's fine, yes, cost effective. But also understand that this thing needs to be done. If it's not done, if it breaks down suddenly, then these people are going to be responsible. You are going to be responsible. And if you are the type of person that overprice things, stop it. I don't know, maybe it's your network, Ignitus. I think it's your network. Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
okay,
I can hear you.
Okay, Ignitus is your network, please. All right, don't overprice things, don't underprice things. I mean, yes, pricing things is important, but if this thing costs 500, 200,000, for example, don't say it's 500,000 because you want to have benefit for your own self too. Okay? In conclusion, what we've learned today, I can't help. In conclusion, what we've learned today, preventive maintenance reduces the downtime of our assets, the breakdown, the number of times our assets tend to break down. It increases the lifespan of our equipment. Are we together? When we prevent our assets, when we carry out our measures in place, and our assets tend to last longer. Just like when you have your regular body baths and all those things, you tend to have good skin. You look good. You go out there and people admire you. But if you're putting on rags or you just managing one clothes, every now and then, you just managing oil, top and small, no worry, no go knock, top and small. In the long run, everything goes bad. All right? Reactive maintenance addresses urgent issues but can lead to higher costs. What does that mean? If you are waiting, when it's spoiled, when you can, something you can use 200 naira to repair. Or you decide to wait for it to get bad, run to failure, and you use 200,000 to fix it. That's reactive. Striking the right balance, optimizing operational effectiveness and cost effectiveness. Data-driven decision help determine when to prioritize preventive or reactive measures. A balanced approach ensures long-term asset reliability and minimizes unexpected disruption. Okay, so I know that even as facility managers, as individuals, as boss, if we put on a preventive maintenance plan in place for all our assets, we'll have little or minimal emergency time. We'll have little or minimal downtime in our facilities. Okay, so I'm going to take the question which we have earlier. from
Silas.
how do we, yes, from Silas, thank you. How do one over maintain an asset? I mentioned this earlier. You have an AC that is not being used for 3 months, but every now and then you keep spending money to clean the filter, to do this, or maybe a generator, for example, is not being used, but you go ahead and you change the oil filter, you change the fuel filter, you change everything that you're supposed to change, but it's not being used. What are you doing? Your pumping machine, you keep oiling it every now and then. Your fire hydrant system, you keep changing the battery when it's not needed. What are you doing? You are over maintaining the assets. You should always have a preventive maintenance plan upon the usage of every asset. Yes, you don't want it to go bad entirely, but how often is it being used? Okay. Does that answer your question, Silas, please? Any other question? Okay. In the absence of no question, I would.
Yeah, there are some questions. There are some questions online. Someone has, how can one map out budget for preventive maintenance and reactive maintenance?
How can what?
How can one map out budget for preventive maintenance and reactive maintenance?
Okay, so let's start with preventive maintenance, for example. How much did you get? There's what we call the vendor book, right? You know that to fix a generator, you want to do your weekly preventive maintenance plan. It's going to cost you, let's say a 250 kVA generator, for example, is going to cost you 300,000. Oil filter, fuel filter, the engine oil, the water separator, and all that, right? Per quarter or per every 200 hours. You plan it. You plan it. In 200 hours, I'm going to spend, in every 250 hours, I'm going to spend 300,000. Times the number of times you're supposed to be serviced in a year, 6 times. 3 times 6. You have your preventive budget for that. Then out of the blues, you can just say, what's the cost of replacing an injector? What's the cost of replacing battery? What are those things that can just come up? Maybe battery terminal, battery itself, that you can replace in your generator. You have that plan as well. You go to the market, you check the rates, you check the price rate. And we have situations whereby if you plan 50 naira, but in the long run, you get 100 naira. So you ensure that you don't want to go back to your clients to start telling them, you put all this planning into consideration. Okay, you've put on your preventive planning in that aspect. Then your reactive. If it's a run to failure system you're running in your facilities, that means your clients are responsible. Anytime that thing spoils, oh, Oga, this thing don't spoil. You go to the market, you get them the price, you fix it. They approve it. That's your reactive plan. You can't budget for it sometimes. Or even if you are budgeting for it, you have to allocate a particular fund, a sinking fund, for example. Yes, they call it sinking fund. You allocate a sinking fund of 500,000. In that 500,000, you know that this is for the generator. And this and this and this is what it's going to cost. You help them to understand that. Okay. Times C and, oh, can you please read that question?
Can one digitalize every equipment in a built environment?
Can one digitalize every, yes, you can. Yes, you have your sensors everywhere. You just go there, if you can't get to the sensor, there's a code, a barcode that you can just go and scan. So yes, it's possible to digitalize every equipment in the built environment. Today we live in a world where everything is being done. You just clap your hand, curtain open, you walk in, the light comes on. If you are not there, the light goes off. Yes, it's possible. Okay, yes, so I think that answers the question. Okay, so any other question, please? Okay, all right. Thank you very much, everyone. And always remember preventive measures, to put in your preventive measures in place and you have less emergencies in your facility. Thank you very much and have a wonderful time. Bye.